Welcome to Architrave Gaming. I'm the Archmaster. So this is a channel about D&D and how you can take my crazy world building ideas and add it to your D&D world, among other things. I'm making my own world and my own game system, which will not be D&D. So technically, it's not about D&D. It's about my world and my system, but you can use it for D&D. So it's a good enough explanation. All right. So this episode is going to be about just crazy world building ideas I have, which you can take and use in your own thing, or just hear about. Wow, he has some crazy world. Maybe I want to either give him Patreon money or be a part of his team that he's actively looking for team members to, fill out his team so he can actually make product with this. Anyway, hell being a place on Earth, instead of it just being this other dimension, this other plane of existence, what if hell or the infernal realm or the nine hells are just infernus? I call it infernus, infernus. What if it's actually a place on Earth? And yeah, you could say it's deep underground and some like super low layer, below the Underdark and below all that stuff. Or you could say it's an actual place like on the surface. You can walk over to hell, and yeah, maybe it's in like a little divot or something, like whatever, because it's low because it's negative, like Mount Celestia is a mountain, so this one is a pit. Yeah, you can do that. But anyway, what if it's actually a real place? So if you're like, I'll send you to hell, or like I'm taking you to hell, what if that was physical? It's like you actually put them in chains and lead them over to hell and throw them in. It's like, now you're in hell. Like, what if it was actually a physical place you went to? You could see a bunch of captives being led off to hell by like some fiends or some bounty hunters or something, and they're like, yeah, we're taking them to hell to trade with the fiends for some, trade their souls to the fiends for some magic or something. Like, what if what if you couldn't enter? Let's say there's like the infernal realm over here in the west, like the actual surface of the world, and then there's Mount Celestia up in the north, and we'll just use two for now. So you have these two places, and you can't enter them if you're alive, right? So once someone dies, then their body essentially turns into a zombie. They're walking around as a corpse, but they're still alive and able to. They're not alive, but they're able to move around and act and do all that stuff. But now that they're dead, now their soul is available to be claimed, right? So they have to be kind of careful. So they, a fiend or a person can go and like grab them and subdue them and just lead them off to hell, or lead them to Mount Celestia, to heaven. And so maybe, the gates to Mount Celestia are barred, or no one knows where it is, or it's a floating mountain up there, or, something, right? And so it's hard to get there, or some people are searching for it and making a pilgrimage to it and whatnot. Or you can only get there if your soul was good or something, right? By taking these afterlives and making them physical places on Earth, you can have so much world building implication. Like, how do the kingdoms deal with this? What do priests do now? Are there fiends and celestials just like wandering around freely looking for dead people to like claim their soul? Are they fighting over them? Can you be a part of that? What happens when the players die? When the players, this is a cool thing. When the player, die, when a PC actually dies in combat, they're not out of the game. It's like, well, now you're dead. Now your soul's able to be claimed. It's like, oh no. Do you want to, find a way to regain your own life? Is there like a certain plane for that, or a certain location on Earth? There's just so much you can do with a setting like this. It makes it interesting and not just bog standard European fantasy, Forgotten Realms. It's like, no, let's make something interesting. And the cool thing is, if you've seen any of my other videos, you can combine an idea like this with the others. Like the whole, the world is a desert during the daytime, and then this frozen tundra at night, and then just like switches like that every day. You can add this on top of it. You can take so many ideas and just keep layering them. Like, that's what my enormous world building project is. That it's like full of 3 million words. It's taking every little idea and layering them on top of each other, of course, in different areas, and there are actually different planets and different continents on the different planets, and so it's all spread out, but still it's like every area, every location is so layered with so many cool ideas. It makes it really interesting to play. All right, next thing, lightning hitting everything is cool. I saw a video of lightning hitting a tree, and it just goes down the middle and explodes from the inside. It's like, why don't we have lightning hitting things in our D&D games more? Let's just have it be a normal occurrence where anytime you're walking along, like every hour, there's a 10% chance of something being hit. Or like in combat, roll a d8 or a d4 or something, right? Like something gets hit, and you can roll a die to see like where on the board it gets hit, right? If you have like 20 squares one way and 8 squares the other way, you roll a d20 and a d8, and you just cross out. Okay, lightning hits there, right? Every round you just roll your die to see where the lightning hits, right? You can do this so many ways, but just having lightning hitting things is cool, right? Let's have more automatic effects, not just in combat, but just everywhere, all over the world. You can have little wildfires and all sorts of cool stuff. But speaking of lightning, what if you had lightning in the sky? How lightning just like arcs across the sky? What if that like opened up a rift? It like broke the sky. Like you take a knife and cut it, right? The lightning is just cutting through the sky, and it opens up a rift to another plane, and like fiends and whatnot just start falling in, and then the lightning, the rift closes, so it just like and closes again, right? Or the thunder is like the suture that closes it, so the lightning arcs through, and the the portal to the other plane is open, and then thunder comes rolling in and closes it, right? The sound, fights against it. You can have so many cool things. And speaking of that, a hole or crack in the sky that's like permanent, like, some comet hit the world 1,000 years ago and just made a hole in the sky, and it's just there. So, like, the space whales can, like, fly in and be like, hello, or fiends can come in if they're from outer planes, or like the Get the Yankee or whatnot can like take their ships and fly through the atmosphere because there's a hole or a crack in the sky. You can have them in several places. It can be where, like, now starlight gets through more easily in those places where the hole in the crack is, or the sun goes there, and now everything's like super bright on Earth because the hole isn't protecting you from the UV rays of the sun. In my world, it's much more interesting than that. The sun is actually it's a radiant, and so it's essentially the concepts of harmony, justice, and benevolence. And so those concepts are shining on the world through the sun, right? And all the stars themselves also are just concept. Like, there's the star of war, and the star of chairs, and the star of swords, and the star of orcs, right? So each star is its own concept, its own thought, right? So they shine on the earth and they influence the earth, right? The way you got orcs in the first place is, well, technically not orcs. We'll say, humans. The way you get humans in the first place is you have, some earth, right? And the star of humans shines on the earth and it turns it into a human, right? The thought and the influence impregnated the ground, you can say, and created the thing, right? So if you have like holes in the sky or cracks or something, that's where these thoughts are coming in more strongly and influencing the ground and changing and whatnot. So yeah, there are a couple of ideas. Here's another one: a low gravity environment. Let's just. It might be a good idea just to say a fantasy world has lower gravity. Why not say that? Yeah, everyone can jump 10 or 15 feet, or it justifies why you have megafauna and stuff, if you really must justify it scientifically, which you don't have to. But if you want to, you can say, well, this world has lower gravity, and so the enormous weight of the megafauna creature doesn't collapse under its own weight because of the gravity. The gravity is lighter; it allows for megafauna. And the cool thing is, all the other normal human-sized creatures can all jump super far, and they can like bounce off the walls and whatnot. And you can have different regions where the gravity is stronger or weaker. So maybe in the east near the coast, all the gravity is weaker. So that's where you have all the megafauna, and that's where you have the floating mountains and the people who can like jump super high and bounce off walls. And then you go west, and the gravity is stronger, and that's where you get short things like dwarves, and the stone is all compact, and so they all dig underground because the gravity is too strong on the surface. You can world building, interesting world building, and not just plain boring Forgotten Realms fantasy, European fantasy, bog standard fantasy. It's not boring. You can actually do some interesting stuff with this, a low gravity environment. Anyway, we're going to keep this short because I want to start making them under 10 minutes. Yeah, good luck. Feed the algorithm, like and subscribe. I have a Patreon for $5 in the description if you want to help me actually quit my job and do this full time, and not just telling you crazy ideas, but actually making products and things. Like, I have my own actual game system. I have a little preview of it, but like, it's going to be a full, 3 or 4 book game system just waiting to be made if I have the funding for it. This is like the very early stages. I'm not going to make it for years probably. But say, hey, the more money I get now from Patreon, the faster I can do that. I'm also actively looking for team members to help me playtest, make, flesh out the world, the game, etc. So yeah, thanks. Like and subscribe to the algorithm. Please comment and whatnot because that helps. And God bless. See you later.